Yeah, I'll be sitting up here by myself.
Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies, where we'll talk Bucks basketball. See Sparky, Fifer from Sports Radio 1250 WSSP in Milwaukee, along with Gery Woelfel from the Racine Journal-Times. We'll first start off by talking not about the wins, the losses, and all that stuff, because you know they're not very good. Let's talk about things that may...
That isn't very nice. You know, this is the Christmas season, and you're saying they're not very good.
Well, let's talk about what's happened.
Let's be a little charitable.
I go on vacation, and while I'm on vacation, Zaza Pachulia ends up with a fractured foot.
Correct.
So I'm right?
Correct.
Karan Butler was supposed to be back in a week. How's he doing?
Oh, no, I said when it happened.
That's what the team said, was a week.
He's going to be out. He's going to be out even longer now. That knee is swollen up pretty good.
Longer.
And he got a second injection the other day, so
it's going to be a while.
It could be a couple weeks. Yeah.
So Karan Butler's out. Zaza Pachulia's out. We aren't going to see Delfino, even though the Bucks say, not yet.
Unless they fly to Argentina.
Okay.
Then you could see him.
Right. So Carlos Delfino, he's not going to play either, right?
Correct.
They apparently don't like Miroslav all that much because they just don't want to play him.
Do you like him?
I haven't seen enough of him to know one way or the other.
No, he's a nice 13th man on a 12-man roster.
Okay, good, but you're playing with like an 8-man roster right now.
Exactly.
That's a problem. He's got to play.
He's got to say. You know what?
You need somebody physical inside. I mean, Tim Duncan should have been all you needed to see. Let Miroslav go in there and use his 6 fouls and elbow him in the face. Do something.
Wow.
I'm serious. You cannot
elbow him in the face.
Yes, that's what I said.
Oh, come on.
You just tattooed arms, blam.
And you're the guy that doesn't want Aaron Rodgers to hurt his shoulder any further.
Gary, you cannot allow every team to come in and beat you inside as badly as you're getting beaten. John Henson's not that physical of a basketball player. Ursan's never been physical. So you don't have anybody inside.
The only guy theoretically that should help you is Epe Udo at this point. And in fairness to Udo, he's banged up too, and they're monitoring his men. This has been an absolute train wreck for Larry Drew. When he came here, he knew he was going to have 11 new faces on the team.
Saw people asking for him to be fired on Twitter last night.
I know. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, come on. They're a fourth of the way into the season. Come on.
I don't care how bad the season is. I don't care. If they can lose the rest of their games, I'm not firing Larry Drew.
No, I think he's done an admirable job of keeping that.
Of what he has?
Exactly.
Yes.
No question about it. And but I mean, I feel sorry for the guy because, okay, he didn't expect to, vie for an NBA title, but he expected to have a competitive team, a young competitive team that he could grow and build with. And they've been ravaged with injuries. I mean, it's ridiculous. Sanders hasn't played at all, and who knows if he'll play again.
Right.
Okay. Ilyasova, their starting power forward, has been out most of the games, and what's this clicking noise?
Nothing. I'm trying to get our producer's attention, but he's walking going on his phone.
Good luck with that. You got to throw things at him to do that.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, okay. So he said Sanders starting center, Ursan Ilyasova starting forward, Butler starting small forward. Brandon Knight is finally starting to get into some kind of a rhythm the last 3
Being
4
inconsistent?
He has been, yeah, but I mean...
That's what he was in Detroit, was inconsistent.
He's 21 years old.
You didn't give Jennings the same excuse.
Oh, I sure did.
You did not.
I said the first 2 years I gave him rope. Now, after that, I gave him no rope because of the stuff.
So after the first 2 years, you gave him rope. So you gave him rope till he was 20. That's what you did.
Yeah.
His first, okay,
no,
so how old was Brandon Knight?
He wasn't 20.
Yes, his first year he was 19, his second year he was 20.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he lived
and then after that, the rope was gone. He said, at 21, you took the rope away from him. Now we have Brandon Knight, who's 21. He's in his third year, so let's treat him like you treated Brandon Jennings.
Oh, there's a big difference.
Oh, there is. Tell me.
Absolutely.
And don't bring up defense.
Oh, that's right. You don't believe in... Why does the San Antonio Spurs be a legitimate NBA championship?
Because they have consistent scoring.
They have one of the best defenses in the league.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what their field goal percentage is right now as a team? 49%.
I'm not arguing.
Okay, do you know what the Bucks field goal percentage is? 41%. The reason why they can win at that rate is because they got a guy that can play with his back to the basket. He's a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
And Tim Duncan. Yeah. You have two guards that can consistently shoot 45% in that area of field goal percentage. You have a great point guard, Tony Parker. That's why they're great.
Great point
guard. It has nothing to do with 6'3" kind of wingspan defense.
No. They play very good defense. And again, last night, everybody's so offensive minded. You got to play defense.
Right.
They play great
You got to
defense.
score in order to win.
Well, I agree with that too, but they play great defense. You know, the Bucks. Here's my point. Jennings is maybe the worst
Agreed.
defensive point guard
Agreed.
that I've seen in a long
Fine.
time. I asked one
So, of
player.
course, anybody's going to be.
I asked one player about a week ago. I said, "What do you think of Jennings' defense?" He goes, "Oh, he plays defense."
Right.
Okay. Now here's my point. Okay, you're talking about offense, and we talked about this
That's what
before the
they
show.
need.
We talked about this before the show, and your memory is like what, this long?
Yes.
Okay. Before the show, we talked about how a story came out yesterday. They ranked the top 128 players who played, quote, significant minutes, and I think it was like 28 minutes or more,
Right.
okay? Those are significant minutes. Where do you think he ranked in field goal percentage?
Brandon Knight?
No, Brandon Jennings.
20th?
Brandon
What
Jennings.
did Brandon Knight rank? Because that's what we're talking about.
He didn't rank where this guy did, Brandon
Did
Jennings.
he rank in the 100 and top 28? Or no? Was he even in the 128?
I don't know if he plays significant minutes at this point.
Brandon Knight's shooting like, what, 34% or something god-awful like that?
He is, but he's been hurt, though.
Oh, excuses.
No, it's not excuse.
Yes, it is.
That's fact.
It's the same.
Hey, you go out and play with 2 pulled hamstrings, see how you do.
Well, you just called Aaron Rodgers not being a man with a broken collarbone, not playing football, and now you're trying
He
to
is
tell
playing,
me,
but the-
oh, he's
but the
got
difference-
bad hamstrings.
No, he's over that now, but he did have them. Okay, my point is getting back to Jennings. Out of 128 guys, no, you're talking about what a great offensive player is. Out of 128
Yes,
players,
sir.
yes, you did.
No,
You said
we were talking
you
about
said
Brandon Knight, and you then said, well, let's not talk about his offense, let's talk about his defense.
And that's,
this is always your excuse.
Okay, here on a 1 to 10 scale, here's Jennings 0.
Agreed.
Knight
Next
is
2.
7 or 8.
3.
Oh, come on, you haven't watched him play. 7 or 8.
Oh, you've
defensive-
got to be kidding me.
He is a
You
very good
all
defender.
stop. Come on.
Go on.
You're laughing. Come on.
No, I'm laughing at you.
You can't be
You're saying
saying 7 or 8.
You say 2 or 3.
Jennings is awful. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And in fact, to be fair, in the NBA, there really aren't any good on-ball defenders at the
Yeah,
point
there
guard
are.
position.
Oh, there are.
No,
though.
there's
They
not.
say,
Not like there used to be.
Rondo's a great on-ball defender.
Fine.
Brandon Knight's.
And Rondo's hurt, but yes.
I'll bet Brandon Knight's one of the top 6 or 8 on-ball defenders in the league. I'll say that right now. 2 or 3.
Okay, I'm not going to agree with you, but if you say so, and that would be great if you had offensive players. If we don't need Brandon Knight for his offense,
We are only
then
talking.
we'd be fine.
We're comparing Jennings and Knight. Nobody else.
No, we're
That's
just
for
talking
sure.
about Brandon Knight right now.
Right, exactly.
Tell me what he brings. So he brings defense. Okay.
By
So
the way-
if he can't score, which is fine, then who is going to score on this team?
He can score, but he's not going to be a productive or a consistent, 18, 20 point per game.
All I heard when we got Brandon Knight was, do you know how good he was at high school? Do you know how good of a scorer he was at Kentucky, Sparky? Greg Easton listened to all of this crap. And now here we are, and he looks just like he did in Detroit. Inconsistent as all heck. Nothing's changed.
Can you bring in a nook?
No! Nothing has changed with this kid. Nothing. Now again, it's early, so we'll see how he progresses.
Oh, he's going to progress. I don't have any
Now,
doubts about
John
it.
Henson, let's go talk about him for a
Oh,
second.
I was having fun with. I'm not even done. By the way, Brandon Knight did something the other night that I guarantee you Brandon Jennings never did in his career and never will in his
We'll have
career.
like 10 rebounds and 2 assists.
Yes, he had 9 rebounds.
And 2 assists! And what's his job as a point guard? To dish the basketball. He had 2
a second.
assists.
You'd be amazed at how many guys don't have more than 7 assists in the NBA, averaging.
Oh,
it's a different type of point guard.
Jennings
today.
averaging 8, isn't he?
Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Right?
And how many turnovers is he averaging?
See, now here we go. You always got to count everything.
Absolutely.
Like you're talking, there's only so many guards averaging over 7 assists. I go, Jennings is doing it, and right away, whoop, there comes the comeback. Brandon Knight exactly doesn't take care of the basketball either.
Here are his positive, and here are his negatives.
Brad-
What you rather? Knight is like this, okay? Jennings is
In
like
my
this.
opinion, the only thing Knight has on Jennings, at this point, when they're not level or Jennings is in front, is
Yeah.
defense. That's it. That's it. Turnovers?
Yeah.
They both turn over the ball a
no,
lot. Yes, they do. They
That's the
both
thing.
turn over the
Jennings
ball.
ranks 127th out of 128 guys in field goal.
You can't even tell me if Knight's even in the top 128.
Huh?
Knight might not even be in the top 128.
It's safe to say he's above that.
He may not even have enough minutes to be considered significant to begin with.
In your eyes, he's 129 out of 128.
Who, Brandon Knight?
Yeah.
No, I just don't think there's that much of a difference between the two of them.
Okay,
offensively.
let's move on.
Knight,
You were wrong once again, so
no,
let's move on.
I'll give you another example. Brandon Jennings is more capable of putting a team on his back and winning a game than Brandon Knight is.
No.
Brandon Knight can't carry a team offensively and go up for 20 and a quarter and say, okay, I'm going to take over and I'm going to go do it.
Okay.
He has not shown that ability, except against Jennings last year when he had 30. Outside of that,
How did Brandon Jennings work out in his 4 years in Milwaukee? And don't say they went to the playoffs because...
playoffs don't count?
No, with him. The reason they went to the playoffs was because of John Solomons. Pure and simple. He came in and...
twice.
Yeah, the first of it, he had nothing to do with it.
Oh, he had everything to do with it. That was probably his best year.
Okay, so what about the other three? Okay, let's say I'll give you that point. Okay, what happened the other 3 years?
And he made the playoffs another year besides that.
And we said
so 2 and 4.
John's. How much? My point is, how much of an impact did he have?
Huge.
That second year?
Yes.
That second time they went? No way.
Gary,
no way.
Look at the scoring on this basketball team.
What's
Any
that?
of those years, he had to be a scorer. You don't have a chance without it. And Brandon Knight can't be that guy. He can't be.
Yeah, you know when Jennings dropped Bill Duffy as an agent, he should have hired you. You would have went in there and instead of getting what he should have got, a $7 million contract, you might have got him 10 or 11.
I'm not arguing Jennings.
What does that tell you about his value if he only gets $7 million? If he's that good of a point guard?
Well, we'll see what Brandon Knight gets. Well, all I'm telling you,
He's gonna
Gary,
get
is
$7 million.
the rhetoric coming out of Bucks camp about how the great Brandon Knight was going to be is total garbage. There's no difference. He's inconsistent, and that's all he is. And he has not shown improvement from year 1 to year 2, and right now we're in year 3, and I haven't seen it from him yet either. The same thing you can say about Brandon Jennings. You can hate Jennings all you want, and that's fine. And by the end of it, I wasn't a fan either after he pouted about not making the All-Star
You
game.
weren't a fan?
He lost me after that whole pouting incident. But you can't take away the fact that he can score, and he helped us win basketball games where he took over a third quarter. He took over a fourth quarter.
That happened about how many times? About 4 or 5 out of an 82-game schedule?
Okay, fine. 4 or 5 times every year I have an 82-game schedule.
Fair enough. And the other 77, he didn't show up?
Okay,
but that's great. We only play 5 games a year.
Okay, we'll see at the end of the year how many games we look at and go, Brandon Knight single-handedly won us that game.
Okay.
I bet you it's less than 2.
You are on, buddy boy.
Less than 2.
Okay, from now on,
And-
take copious notes back.
And if you look at this Bucks roster, what did we say at the beginning of the year? O.J. Mayo has to be that guy.
Yeah.
Has he been?
No, he hasn't.
Now we understand what we all knew. That's why he's a bench player and he's a role player.
Oh,
he
he's
has
not-
all
he's
the
not-
talent
he's
in
not
the
a bench
world.
player.
Yes, he was. He was a sixth man in Memphis.
For 1.5 seasons, basically.
Okay, so he was a bench
But
man
he
there.
started in Dallas last year, right?
Right.
For Rick Carlisle, who I think is one of the best.
Who
coaches
they
in
then determined that Monte Ellis was better.
Oh, by the way.
They determined Monte Ellis was better than O.J.
Mr. Clutch, Monte Ellis last night.
Didn't see it. I was
They
asleep.
were in a great game, right? Coming against Golden State, comes down the last 2 minutes, and your boy Monte Ellis goes to the basket and loses the ball. Right? Okay, no problem. Goes to the free throw line, misses the free throw. That's our Monte Ellis. Thank you very much.
At least with Monte, you knew what you were going to get every night scoring-wise.
And you knew that you'd screw up along the way as well.
But you don't get that from O.J. Mayo. What you get from O.J. Mayo is the same thing you get from Brandon Knight. Inconsistency. You have no idea. Want to know why this team isn't very good? Look at the guard play. That's why this team isn't very good. You don't have a back-to-the-basketball basket player, which we all said in the offseason was a priority, which we didn't go get at any point.
Okay, so this is a beautiful segue into...
Omar Ashik. And what
No, I was going to tell you.
That's the back-to-the-basket
And we've talked about Omar Ashik for several weeks on the post-game show about how the Bucks had interest, like about 7, 8 other teams. You know who also has interest in him, by the way?
Who?
Oklahoma City. Now, can you imagine the Rockets trading after they just took Harden from them?
I like that for Oklahoma City.
Oh, Oklahoma City would
Makes
love
sense, yeah.
And I talked to a guy in the Portland organization. They would love to have him instead of. Oh, this guy's a very good defender. I mean, you talk to the players. He's got their respect.
We need offense.
Okay. So
Offense.
Okay, and that segues to the next point. Guess who else? This is a great time of the year because teams are already.
Rudy Gay got traded.
Already. A lot of teams are engaged in trade discussions, including the Bucks, who have been very, very active talking to teams.
What are they trying to do? As an organization, what are they trying to do?
So you said they need a back-to-the-basket, low-post scorer, right? Who do you think is
Please tell me it's somebody good. Like Cousins would be great. I know it's not, but DeMarcus Cousins would be wonderful. Greg Monroe.
Four half pads in case Sparky falls off.
Greg Monroe of the Pistons would be fabulous. And then sign him to a long-term deal.
And I'm not saying this is going to happen because I would say...
You said they just had interest. They made a call, maybe.
They looked into it, yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it was on Memphis's part or on...
Zach Randolph.
Ding, 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 ding.
I'd do it in a heartbeat. If you're trying to make the playoffs,
You're kidding. You would do it in a heartbeat?
if you're trying to make the playoffs, yeah.
Oh, my God. I expected the opposite reaction.
No.
You're going to say the guy's 32.
I love Zach Randolph. But
Wow.
But Gary,
You shocked me. You
no,
really did.
but this is the difference. I don't want to make the playoffs. I have no interest in making the playoffs.
That's why I thought you'd be shocked, because if they do bring in Randolph, they're going to make the playoffs.
But Gary, it's the same thing of trying to bring in Sheik. It's the same crap. No different. Herb Kohl, once again, can't leave well enough alone and just be bad. No. I see an opportunity. We could be 15 games under 500 make the playoffs. Let's try it. And let's try and screw ourselves out of another star. Yet this is the same owner who consistently will look me in the face and go, yeah, it's hard to win a championship without a superstar. We have to figure out how to get a superstar. And then you tell him how to get a superstar. Divine intervention from the God above is coming in and going, look, I'm going to make you so bad I will get you one. And Herb goes to God, you know what? No, I'm good. I don't need your help. I'm going to screw this up myself again and try and trade for something.
I think Herb Kohl's been down that road and found out that even if you have the number one pick, it doesn't assure you of anything. Can we say Glenn Robinson?
Yeah, Glenn Robinson was a hell of a player. Tell me who on this team is Glenn. Tell me who's been on this team since Glenn, who's been Glenn.
Fine. Give me one. Outside of 1 year where they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and that was when they had Ray Allen and Sam Cassell as well.
Right. And how did they get Ray? Huh? How did they get Ray? They were horrible. And they made a trade to get Marbury. Marbury for Ray.
So you're advocating being in the lottery for the next 2-3 years.
Yes. Huh? That's exactly what I'm advocating.
And have this many people come to the Bradley Center to watch?
Sure.
Are you going to watch if this team is absolutely pathetic?
Yes.
You are. You're going to go buy tickets.
Gary, I promise you this right now. If this team doesn't screw up, if Herb doesn't screw up and make some dumb trade, if that doesn't happen, they're going to get Wiggins, Parker, one of them.
No, they're not.
I don't know if they're not. Yes, they are.
No,
because if they're the worst record in the NBA, Gary, the worst case scenario, if they're the worst record is 4. There are 4 guys.
Well, maybe that's all. That's all perspective. Right now.
Well, fine. You can have your perspective on mine. I think there's 5 guys in this draft, maybe 6.
Well, they're going to need 60. What? 60 players for the draft. You said there was only 5 players. Never mind. Go on.
No, I'm trying to lighten this up.
You're way too serious.
No, because I'm sick of this organization screwing it up time and time again. We're finally in a situation where everything's falling into place for them. God's helping them as much as possible. And little Herbie is going to jack the whole thing up by trying to go get in the 8th seed.
What does he say about little Stevie?
If I was John Hammond, I'd figure out a way to raise money.
Tobias Harris back?
Nope. He's not even playing yet, is he? Is he still
he's not. Yeah, he's been banged up.
That ankle has got to be worse than they're saying. But either way, if I was John Hammond, I'd start a collection at Bucks games to send Herb Kohl out of the country for the next 6 months. Just get out of the office. We'll call you when the season's done. We'll bring you back for the lottery. If he trades for Zach Randolph and gives up what?
Wait a second. You just said, you're on board with it. Now all of a sudden you're not on board with it.
What did I say? You don't listen to me.
I do.
If you're trying to make the playoffs, I said it's a good move.
No, I wanted to know if you would do it.
No.
Okay,
but I wouldn't do the Omar Sheik trade either because you're trying to make the playoffs.
Correct. Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
But again, if you trade Henson, people are going to lose their mind. If you trade Nate Walters, people are going to lose their mind. So I'm telling you right now, you start trading young players. If you trade Ursan, nobody's going to care. If you trade Larry Sanders, you're going to be some very upset, and some are going to be fine with it because all is off the court.
I can't believe all the people that were pro Larry Sanders, up until a couple weeks ago, they've gotten off of Larry Sanders.
No, but if Larry Sanders,
they want him out of here.
I get it. But people wanted Ryan Braun to gone too, right?
Yes, indeed.
And if Ryan Braun comes back and hits 325 and hits 40 home runs, people are going to be, love you, Ryan Braun.
And Larry Sanders is going to come back and score 5 points a game, and everybody's going to forgive him.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter. No, you were the guy who said, what does defense matter?
No.
Yes.
We've talked right.
You said defense doesn't matter.
But we're going back to last year's team and every other year's team. They were getting all their offense out of their guards because their position in the middle didn't score. Larry Sanders is Ben Wallace. That's who he is. And you knew that when you drafted him.
That's a rip on Ben Wallace. No, he's not Ben Wallace.
Why not?
He's not that good. He isn't even remotely.
Did you see him play last year?
Yeah, I did, for about 25, 30 games.
Oh, it was more than 25 or 30 games, man.
Well, how many? Okay.
He dominated defensively. He dominated.
And where did the Bucks go with their defensive? Where did they go with their defensive domination? Nowhere.
Fair enough. Good enough. Yeah. Then that's fine. Then get rid of Brandon Knight because they need to do Jack in Detroit. Gone. Get rid of O.J. Mayo because he hadn't done much. See ya. I mean, if we're going to base it on playoffs and bring Brandon Jennings back, and we say went to the postseason with Jennings, if that's what we're going to base it on.
It was Brandon Jennings is the main reason they went to the playoffs. No, he wasn't. He was such a.
Who was the main reason?
I told you the second time they went, without a doubt, it was John Solomons. Remember how they got him at the deadline? Mm-hmm. He was like Michael Jordan down the stretch, and that's how they crept into the. They barely got into the playoffs with him having an.
What about the first time they went?
I'd have to go back and check.
Yeah.
What, you say that was all Brandon Jennings?
It wasn't Bogut. He was hurt.
Well, it wasn't just.
Delfino played well. Jennings played well. The whole team. They were like a 5.
Main reason.
He was the main reason why.
Okay. So, and again, I'll give you that 1 out of 4. No.
We'll see if Knight gets 1 out of 4.
Well, we'll see when Detroit. Well, Detroit could go to the playoffs this year because.
No, we'll see what Brandon Knight does. We'll see how many times Brandon Knight gets to the playoffs. That'll be good. We'll see if Brandon Knight can throw up the same offensive numbers that Jennings did, even with a bad field goal percentage.
No.
Let's see if he can just score the same amount of points.
I never said he would throw up the same numbers because he's not that type of player. He's a better, more
told me
complete
how
runner.
great of an offensive player he was in high school and in college, and blah, 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 blah. That's what he told me.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
My point was that he is one, and he's already showed in a couple games. He is a very good clutch player. I don't know if you noticed it. He is. He's very good for whatever reason. He's one of those guys that really hones in when there's an important play. He's hit 2 good shots already this year, and he hasn't played.
Hey, if you're within 30, Brandon Knight's your guy. He's Gery Woelfel, because they weren't last night for most of the game. He's Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky. Fifer. Another argument about Brandon Knight on Sports Junkies.
All that agreement we have doing the Packers.
I'm telling you, keep me away from everybody in that organization if they make a trade for any of those 2 guys. I will lose my mind. Enjoy the rest of your day here at Racine Sports Zone. I don't have much left.
Yeah, exactly.
Here at RacineSportsZone.com. Bye-bye.